Alright, hello. I'm going to be going over the EDG versus OMG game that happened in week 4 of the LPL in the spring 2014 season. I haven't seen a lot of English casting over this, so I thought I'd do some practice with it. Alright, so Zig's first pick, I guess. I don't follow the Chinese scene too much, but I hope to learn a lot from this. Apparently Zig's first pick, I'm guessing that's just part of their strategy. I don't think that at this time Ziggs was necessarily first pick material. I think that if you do first pick him, I think that you have to have a certain plan with him. I'm not sure if it's just EDG valuing him highly or you being very confident on the champion. But either way, I think it's a strong pick either way. I don't think it's first pick material necessarily. I think it can be countered, but we will see. Okay, and Renekton and Annie. I think Annie's a very strong initiation. I think that Renekton needs that to follow up. I think that Renekton has decent engage himself, but I believe that Annie also helps with that. Evelyn, Caitlyn, while they have a very, very good siege and comp already, it's not hard to see where this is going with the Evelyn pressure and the Caitlyn and Ziggs pressure on towers. It seems like EDG want to play a slow game, just be solid in the laning phase, not give too much away, and then slowly grind down OMG in the late game, middle late game. And then, of course, the Pantheon and Super come out to show that OMG are not going to let EDG play passive, and they're just going to roll over them. Which is probably going to happen because I believe that OMG are like, you know, pretty much undefeated at this point or something like that. Very close to, if not. The Olaf pick I kind of like. It gives okay, I'm not gonna say anything because I don't actually know who's gonna be picked. Although I don't mind Leona. I don't think Leona is necessarily a good synergistic pick. I think somebody like Sona or Zyra would have been better for the disengage against this very heavy engage composition that OMG are running. Shyvana is fine though. I think that Shyvana can get into the backline or deal massive AoE damage to the people who are clumped up, who are trying to get onto Nabe. Let's see. Kha'Zix, LeBlanc, and Lucian band. I didn't actually see these bands. My apologies. The assassin bands make sense because they don't want anybody just blowing up Ziggs or Caitlyn when they're trying to siege. Although again, I don't really understand the whole Leona Shyvana thing if they're trying to go for a siege comp. They do have a solid team fight, but they're not going to win in a team fight early on versus OMG, and OMG are most likely going to set up those fights early on, especially with a Pantheon, Annie, and Sivir, and Renekton. They just have, honestly, just such good dragon fight and just such good early fighting that I don't think it's going to be possible for EDG to win an early fight. So they have to bank on their late game, or their sieging, or their safe lanes, which they relatively do have, but Shyvana, of course, gets bullied around by Renekton in the early levels until she gets a Blade of the Ring King or something of the sort to fight back. Or just level 9, you know, get some tank stats in there, get some levels on her abilities, and she does eventually outscale. Of course, a quick disclaimer, I am only what you would call a color commentator. I am not going to be shouting at the top of my lungs about the plays that are happening or anything like that. I will be analyzing what effect they have on the game, preferably, and or what kind of picks I see influencing the map, but other than that, I will not be telling you what's happening in front of your eyes. I don't think that's necessary, especially in this circumstance. I will, however, potentially, we'll see, turn up the volume so you can hear how much the Chinese casters enjoy interrupting each other. Okay, just standard startup. Annie getting a little bit aggressive, going up there, almost face checking that brush. But I highly doubt that anything's going to happen. I think that with the vision changes of 4.0 or 4.1 or whatever it was, 3.15 even maybe, I can't remember, whenever they added trinkets, I think that basically stagnated the whole level 1 of the game, and it's going to be very boring at level 1 for a while until they allow us to have wards at level 1, because without having wards at level 1 before, 100 and whatever seconds into the game, it's kind of pointless to go into the enemy jungle at all, because you're not going to get any vision down, and that's the only guaranteed bonus that you will have. So, So I'll go through lane matchups real quick. I think I went over the Shyvana Renekton one a little bit. In terms of Ziggs Lulu, Ziggs should be able to farm without getting harassed too hard. And Lulu, of course, can farm as well. I think that's just going to be a farm lane until level 6 or until a jungler shows up. It's the same kind of situation for top, except for it's very hard to gank for a Shyvana, especially as Evelynn with low CC pre-6. Excuse me. Pantheon could be able to gank for Renekton fairly easily, especially with the early pressure that Renekton puts down. They could even dive the Shyvana potentially pre-6. We'll see how that works out. And actually with Pantheon starting blue, I could actually see that happening pretty quick. Just rotate up there very quickly. Potentially just go straight to his red buff instead of doing an extra camp. We'll see. And actually it looks like he is skipping Wolf, so maybe he is doing that. Evelynn starting blue buff and then getting down to his red very quickly as well. Actually it seems to be... Huh. Okay, so we're back in the game. I just skipped forward a little bit. Looks like Annie getting some really, really solid harass down on Annie. That's very important, so that Annie can't go up and harass and get that stun off, so that Sivir can't land her Boomerang Blade. That's very important for this lane of EDG, so that they can farm up and get to their mid and late game rotations. Just every little bit of harass counts. As I said, Evelynn starting blue and then going directly to her red and then grabbing golems, it looks like. That's very interesting without ganking a lane. I have never seen somebody so... Huh, yeah, see, Pantheon's doing it too. That's very interesting. I guess in China they get their buffs and then go for their camps. Smaller camps, rather. That's, very interesting. Top lane, not doing anything, of course. Oh, looks like Pantheon's coming in. Nope, okay. Yep, and that's the short range of Pantheon W coming into play. EDG, I'm sorry, Clear Love coming in to get some Wraiths, that's good. Evelynn is actually a very good counter jungler, I've found. Some people don't believe so, but I do. I think that she clears camps very quickly, and her single target burst on the large minion is substantial enough to kill it pretty quick and get out of there, as well as the fact that she can actually duel top tier junglers such as Elise, Lee Sin, after a couple of levels. And as you can see here, she's actually chasing the Pantheon out of her jungle with her damage. I used to think that Pantheon could duel just about anybody in the jungle, but obviously this is not the case, and Evelynn is actually probably one of the better duelists, I believe, right now. So the invade by Pantheon not working out for him. As I said, Pantheon not the best at counter jungling in terms of the fact that he can get out dueled fairly easily. We do have a slight CS lead for Sivir coming out. I don't think that's important at the moment. Oh, and as I speak too soon about Evelynn, she almost gets killed and does get killed by nobody. Never mind. Very good play by FZZF there to dissuade, or rather stun the guys. Oh, okay, well that just happened. Anyway, top lane's killing each other. See, that's what happens in top lane though, is either nobody dies or both of them die. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. His auto attack didn't kill Shyvana as he wanted to, so he could flash out. He just had to die, commit, and not blow his flash, which I think was a smarter move. I think that simply burning a flash versus trading kills is not a good option, as well as the fact that Shyvana's, red side minions were at Shyvana's tower, I think that it was a wise decision by Renekton, simply to go for it. Evelyn looking for something here. I'm not sure if she's going to find it. They seem to be aware of where Evelyn is by the positioning of the bot lane, most likely. Somebody pinging in River, probably still scared of the Evelyn ganking, potentially. Jungler for OMG, getting caught out there, or not caught out, but seen by a ward there. A deep, deep pink ward by EDG. I wonder why that's in there. Although, I mean, Pantheon hasn't walked by it, or walked in that brush, so I guess it makes sense. Deep, deep pink wards, new strat, I guess. Very interesting. We'll see how that works out, or what that does later on. This blue buff's trying to be contested by Pantheon. Good good decision to walk back and get some backup before going in, of course. Wow, a lot of resources being committed here by OMG to get this, although it's forcing EDG to get out here too, and there is the fight that they wanted to force. Like I said, I doubt that EDG will win this because of their fairly weak early game versus OMG's team comp. I did not see who got the blue. I'm suspecting it went to Pantheon. Yep, I see it on Pantheon there. So Pantheon did make it out with it. I think that's exactly what OMG needs to do with this team comp, is force these early engagements, these large engagements, and I think they did a very good job of slowly baiting out the team of EDG to get over there. As you can see, Renekton doing a decent amount of damage onto Shyvana, and maintaining that lead even after a couple of items have been picked up by either side. And now OMG getting their blue buff as well over to Ziyang, looks like is his name. Or XL Yang, I can't quite tell in this low quality. I'll just call him Yang, how about that? As you can see, Name getting caught back up in experience. I believe that OMG don't really prioritize the bot lane because it's not very important that Sivir get as many items as Caitlyn in the early stages, because her ultimate will buff up the other members of OMG and they will be able to quite easily pick off Name. San doing an excellent job though of keeping up rather well versus a long range champion such as Caitlyn. Sivir not having the best laning phase against Caitlyn, and with the Leona pressure, of course. Also, Ziggs getting a small CS lead. It makes sense though, because they have been prioritizing jungle pressure and such on OMG's side, so he's been roaming and helping out with that. And the fact that Ziggs just has immensely better wave clear. However, Yang has that kill, which should keep him up in the game, in gold, etc. Looks like Evelyn's going bottom. Could be looking for a gank or potentially a dragon play fairly soon. It's about that time. I don't, however, expect EDG to go for it. I expect them, or not expect them, but rather think they should give it up, or, you know, make some kind of play in their lanes to solidify the fact that they can get it for free. And with Pantheon going top, they could actually do that fairly easily. Although, he did go the other way so that they could not see him with the pink ward. He is 6, however, so he could dive fairly easily. I do not believe that... Yep, see, there you go. Fairly easy gank. However, I truly and sincerely hope... Yep, EDG are pinging the dragon. So, both the EDG... Oh, and... Oh, that's huge for EDG. EDG should be able to take this dragon no problem and get a fairly safe and a gold boost in this game, and they should be able to carry him through mid game. However, I do feel that OMG's team comp, if these two teams do go even, OMG's team comp should be able to pull ahead because of their hard engage with Pantheon and Renekton and Annie, and well, everybody on their team actually has pretty hard engage. So I don't feel like the siege and poke comp from EDG will be solid enough to combat what OMG are bringing to the table. We see here a Tiamat actually being picked up by Renekton. I don't quite agree with that. However, if they are looking for large engages, then I do understand that he wants to get as much damage off onto the squishies as possible, which they can definitely do because EDG have low maneuverability in a team fight. Fairly low, rather. Sivir ultimate actually being popped as well as Tibbers, it looked like. Very good by EDG, however, OMG, as long as they don't get put behind by that, they should be fine, which it looks like they are not. Even the support is staying around. It looks like Alien is his name, I can't quite tell. But the Annie staying around and getting the XP she needs to be a beast with her high base damages. Renekton going aggressive. going aggressive against Koro. Very good with the Tiamat there to put a decent amount of damage down onto Shyvana, maintaining his lead. And I think that this early tower truly solidifies the lead. And this is exactly what OMG need to do. I don't think that Clear Love should have gone in there. I think that with OMG's strong early game comp, I don't believe that Renekton will die here. I believe that they just got baited into that, and now OMG, with their early game comp, will be able to take the blue buff and the kill basically for free, which is exactly what they need. And what they planned for, I'm sure. OMG simply having a very good plan coming into the game and executing it brilliantly. Mechanics not perfect, of course, with that early dive top as Renekton, but again, it wasn't huge because Renekton got some gold, while Shyvana lost the XP. Was fairly close, of course, but either way, they would have gotten the blue buff, and they would have chunked out the members of EDG. Oh, looks like Pantheon going down somewhere. Didn't notice that. It looks like EDG potentially going in for a blue invade now. Pantheon does have his ultimate up, it looks like. I don't think this is a very wise move by EDG to go in here. Early on at this stage, EDG does not have the teamfight presence to go in. Looks like Koro getting chunked out. Won't die though. Shyvana, W. I'm out of here. Okay, yep. Very smart by EDG not to go in for that. However, they are just getting put slightly more and more behind by this kind of thing. OMG just doing exactly the right thing at the right time. I would not have thought of the... Oh, and EDG getting something sneaky off here. Very intelligent by them. However, the anti-burst just destroying Clear Love. Wow, just complete destruction by OMG. Just not letting EDG get anything. It's just the early game by OMG. Just so much stronger than EDG at this point. Oh, wow, yeah. I don't see any hope for EDG to get back in this, especially with OMG's just raw aggression. It seems and it's not just raw aggression in the sense that they're just going in whenever, but it's in the sense that every time that they go in, they do it well so that they can go in. They know that they can because they execute it so well, and EDG just don't have that ability because I just don't think they're as quite as strong together yet. I do believe that EDG, I have watched a few of their matches, and I do believe that they are a very solid roster in terms of their individual play, but I don't believe that they have any team synergy yet. Or not any, but not as much as OMG for sure. And I do believe that OMG have equal maybe slightly worse individual players, but not enough to negatively compensate for their team play, which is spot on, and their execution, as well as what it seems like pre-game planning and reads on their opponents. Dragon coming up in 30 seconds. I do expect OMG to get this without a problem, especially with their early game composition, as I've been harping on the whole game. Shyvana has to go up top and push that wave, which is going to make her either late for Dragon or simply make them have to give it up, or make them fight and have a 4v5 versus an already more dominant team. Dragon coming up now. I don't quite understand why Pantheon back there. I think that he was fine to grab that, although it seems like OMG are confident enough in their 3-man to hold it off and start it without him, which is very true. I don't think that Evelyn will get there in time. I do think that EDG are simply giving this up because they see no way of contesting it against OMG's composition, which is very, very smart. I don't understand the Pantheon ulti here, although I guess it's just to secure the dragon, and for them to understand that they are that far ahead. Good pink ward. Interesting pink ward there by EDG. I don't think that it was worth it. Oh, they love getting caught out. I don't see EDG winning anything here. Koro having a good ultimate there, backing everybody off. Although OMG's disengage is by far better than EDG's, especially with that Leona pick, which I do not like at all. I don't think they have the follow-up to continue the CC chain or have the damage necessary during the short window that, well, relatively short window that Leona gives for damage, with Ziggs Bomb having cast time and such, and Leona's CC being single target. I don't think that it's a very reliable way to get damage off and a CC chain off on, like, versus this composition, rather. Since OMG have the movement speed from Sivir to just spread out and team fight you from whichever angle they want. Sivir cleaning up a wave bottom. They understand that they can pick anybody off even 4v5. EDG simply not having the communication necessary to prevent those kind of ganks. As you can see here top, I believe Shyvana should be dead. Pantheon having a good angle and the stun coming out. Ooh, good ulti though. Good ulti though. Gets her out of there. Pantheon trying to wait for the ulti before he stuns, but couldn't quite get it. Doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things. I believe that OMG simply are delayed. I believe that OMG are simply delayed, and it doesn't quite matter though, because EDG's composition is not better in the late game for team fighting at the very least. I believe that they do have a strong late game team fight comp, and with Evelyn pressure they could win a fight, but they have to get the correct engage. And it's not for a good 15-20 minutes, especially with the gold deficit they've acquired. Honestly though, Name just farming up magnificently. He could be their shining beacon of hope, but I highly doubt it, because of the kill potential that OMG have on him, with Renekton, Pantheon, and even Annie and Sivir getting back there with the movement speed. And it looks like Annie's going for Talisman of Ascension, so it shouldn't be hard at all to get back to Name, especially with the lack of peel on EDG's side. Evelyn does have some peel, as well as Ziggs and Leona, but I doubt that they would use that on to Name, considering that most of it is for engage or zone zone potential rather than peel during a siege, etc. Not too much happening. OMG trying to look for a pick, which is basically what their comp is made for, as well as good early game team fighting, like I said, and skirmishing. San trying to catch up in CS to the incredible Name, who is, it looks like either 20 or 70 CS ahead. I can't quite tell if that's a 8 or a 3. Unfortunately, I can't turn up the quality any higher. This is as high as it goes, but that's okay. Ziggs ult clearing out the mid lane, smart idea. Leaves him time to get back, and of course they burn out the ultimate from Koro once again, which means that EDG cannot engage a team fight. They just have no team fight presence with that ultimate down, it seems. Evelyn ulti has the slow, of course, to compensate for the lack of CC that Shyvana has to go in and just burn everybody down, but without the burnout, or rather without the Dragon's Descent, they cannot do that. Lich Bane finished on Lulu. Looks like not much is happening right now. I don't quite understand why OMG is not pushing their advantage harder. They could, although I suppose they could be just waiting for the correct time to Baron. Good job by going, forcing people up there. Just keep putting on the pressure top lane, that's very smart. Just dominating the Shyvana, even though Shyvana does have 3 kills. All of them on her team, which is another reason why getting that Dragon's Descent is a huge benefit for OMG. Interesting choice of the Banshee's Veil on Renekton. I would guess that's simply because he's so far ahead in lane and he knows that Pomelo will be ganking his lane quite a bit and getting that Dragon's Descent down. However, it is back up, so they should be wary of this team fight. EDG do have fairly good team fight presence in this fight, seeing as how all their ultimates are up and all their summoners as well. However, OMG do have a very good comp for this. Looks like EDG just give it up. Interesting choice by them. I believe that they could have done something if they had set that up earlier, if they had been aware, which they are not, simply because they're a new team, I believe. I think that they will do much better next split, or next season. And OMG just showing that they are a very, very solid, coordinated team, and have a plan, and execute it well. And EDG simply showing that they cannot execute their plans as well. Looks like Sport Annie going for the red trinket already. Very smart. I think that could have been picked up earlier, seeing how ahead OMG are. I do believe that Lulu could have one as well as Renekton. Or maybe just Renekton. I think the 3-2 is a good balance there. I do not believe that the AD carry should ever go for a sweeper. Very aggressive Pantheon build coming out. Although, again, I think it's odd that with that aggression they don't press it as heavily as they could. I suppose it could just be the Ziggs wave clear coming in, not allowing them to do much. However, they're not really built for sieges anyways. I do believe that they should simply just dive the enemy team. Renekton can flank from the side onto the tower, behind the tower. But I'm not seeing that happening. Static Shiv picked up on Sivir. I don't quite get that either. I do believe that the team fight single target damage from Sivir with the Boomerang Blade or I'm sorry, not Boomerang Blade, but Phantom Dancer or the likes of a Blade of the Ruin King could do a lot better. Especially since, of course, Shyvana is going to be on her and Lulu as much as possible. So he needs that single target damage. I do not believe that the wave clear was necessary. Talisman of Ascension still being worked on by Annie. Once that's done, I hope that they will feel more confident in simply diving EDG. However, I have seen this with a lot of teams lately, that they are afraid to close out games, not willing to risk anything until they're strong enough to take an objective. Clear Love getting caught out. Finally something happening, however the W coming out. Here we go. There's something, hopefully. Whoa, the minefield doing huge damage. Taking down Annie, actually. Pomelo going down by the Shyvana, maybe? No. Oh, the slow by Lulu coming out. Of course, the disengage being very strong on OMG's side. Good pickup by EDG, keeping him in the game. And of course, getting an objective from it, that's very important, especially since that is only their second tower of the game. OMG not having such an importance on towers, seeing as how their siege potential is weaker and kill and teamfight potential is higher, and pick potential. However, with that amazing minefield by Ziggs and the, I believe, not the Pantheon ultimate that was fairly lackluster in that he could have done it farther forward to guarantee that he got the stun on a squishy target and burst them down. I do believe that that would have helped them in the fight, however, it's difficult to say. But again, an excellent minefield by Ziggs to shut down any chase potential. And EDG, if they, that's a hard name to pronounce. EDG, if they do get a lead, they can snowball this with the fairly lackluster early game, or I'm sorry, fairly weak early game, late game, rather, that OMG have. In that, if EDG do get a lead and OMG are afraid to use theirs, then EDG can apply enough pressure with enough coordination to simply pressure down OMG's turrets rather than fight them at all. Lulu simply getting the tower mid lane with her shield. Smart idea there. Very good awareness of where EDG are. Solid play there. Looks like OMG have great position for Baron with their pressure that they can make out of their pick comp, because if EDG, with their flanking Evelynn, get caught out slightly, it's going to be very hard to engage on OMG at all. Evelynn now coming back around to the back, see she can even be spotted out by Pantheon and simply stunned and burst it down. It's going to be very difficult for them to get a flank, which they desperately need. Is it just me, or did the quality simply just go much higher? Wow, it did. Okay, hello. Wow, I don't know what that means, but we just got higher quality video. Again, that Banshee's Veil by Renekton, apparently not getting blocked by the static shiv of Caitlyn. Didn't know that that was not a spell. Looks like Annie going back, potentially for wards or something. Oh, let's take a second here. Let's take a second here to look at the gold totals. Looks like Renekton and Lulu and Ziggs are the ones, or I'm sorry, it looks like Renekton and Lulu are the ones that are massively in the lead because of their high CS, and Name biting on their tail to get as much gold as they have. Some kind of visual bug, it seems, with San's gold total. Again, Evelynn being so far behind, it's going to be difficult for her to flank. And basically what this implies is that Yang will be able to peel very well for San and burst down anybody that comes near, and San will be able to fight anybody one-on-one, or rather not one-on-one, but we'll be able to kill somebody down, beat somebody down to kill them, and win the fight for their team, potentially. And going, getting very large on Renekton, being able to get back into the backline to Name and be able to kill him, hopefully, with the tankiness that he has. Horo jumping in, not very wise against this pick comp. Probably will not get away, but Shyvana OP. Good block by Yang, however, that does force them back. And it is Ziyang, something like that. And Going just dashing out, not a scratch on him. Not even popping his Banshees. We see a Death Cap being picked up by Ziggs, and a Void Staff just being finished. That's going to give him massive presence against Going in these team fights. And especially against this very squishy Pantheon build, it's going to be very difficult for Pantheon to get in there without using his ultimate, and the Minefield will be able to counter him quite effectively. I think that once Pantheon gets him at the Mar, that OMG will be able to fight these fights with Frickless Abandon, but it's difficult to say. Seeing as how Name is so fed and so farmed, it's going to be difficult for them to fight. And actually, both Renekton, Going, and Name's Caitlyn surpassing that 10 CS a minute. So very impressive there. However, it's very counterintuitive to what we've come to believe that Chinese teams do, which is simply dive. Neither of these teams are doing so. They're happening right now. Unfortunately, this isn't a very exciting game. Just tanks hitting each other. Trying to look for something interesting to talk about, but not much. Looks like Shyvana's building up some components of items. Looks like he's going for a Thorn Mail and potentially Banshee's Veil. Banshee's Veil being very popular recently because of the poke and siege comps coming out of certain teams. Especially with Ziggs being such a high priority, and the likes of Lulu, as well as Annie, being able to counter that hard engage is very important. Oh, okay, so apparently that's a visual bug onto Renekton. He does have his Banshee's Veil down. I did not notice that. The Static Shiv probably did pop his Banshee's Veil. He does not, in fact, have two Banshee's Veils. That is not possible. Looks like OMG getting caught out slightly. Gets the Lulu ultimate. However, 3 ultimates burned on the side of EDG, as well as that ignite off of Leona. Simply for the flash and ultimate on OMG's side. However, flash engaged by OMG, very important. Very important for OMG's engage. Although I do not believe it's vital, I just believe that it helps. I think that OMG simply have too much engage for EDG to get away from. Although they are not using it. Which is odd. Blue buff getting taken by Ziggs, it seems. Nothing too special. Ziggs bombs being thrown out every 4 seconds is definitely a good thing. OMG looks like they're baiting a Baron. FCZF definitely going down there. Tiber's not needed, but, you know, whatever, YOLO. Looks like they're just going to go for round 2. Nothing that EDG can really do. I don't know if this was OMG's initial plan, however, I'm guessing that the Ziggs scared them with that disengage. Oh, very, very hard engage. Very good flash by Going to They are probably going to be able to clean this up. One kill going down, but not very important. It's still a 5v2, 5v1, 4v1. And looks like Koro's probably going to go down here too. Finally, OMG manning up and being able to dive. San even taking the tower. And that's exactly what I mean. It's just there's nothing that EDG can do after OMG decide to go on them. The engage is just way too strong. And it looks like OMG are probably going to take this inhibitor and then go back for Baron, potentially, seeing as how Going has plenty of health and that Tiamat to heal him up. And the Lulu shields, etc. Great flash by Going. Knowing exactly where he would be, without a ward even, and just being blown up with the damage from OMG. Pomelo going down, not a huge deal. He's already used his stun, being able to pick people out, and Going just way too strong at this point, being able to dive the Shyvana. San just getting so many shields and so many ultis. Yang doing an incredible job of that fight to keep San alive, even with tanking the tower, and while damaging the Shyvana, etc. And of course, Going and Pomelo being on point with their communication, it seems, as well as Alan, it looks like, is the support for OMG. All three of them just being on point with their engages, and the Sivir ultimate, of course, coming down. Just very good, clear communication by OMG. They haven't made any split decisions, and their team play seems to be on point. I don't see EDG coming back into this at all. EDG, simply with the better mechanical play, but not being able to make up for it, or make up for their losses later on in terms of map play and decision making. Seems like a bunch of solo queue players, as some people would say, instead of a cohesive unit. Excuse that, please. Ziggs getting decent poke off, however the shield from Lulu just negating most of that. I don't believe that Ziggs at this point, with him being, or I'm sorry, rather with the amount of MR on OMG's team, I don't believe that, especially with the Baron buff, that he will be able to poke anybody down. I think that the only tools that Ziggs really has to bring right now are the Explosive Minefield and Satchel Charge for his escape. The AoE damage, potentially for a wave clear. Stalling out the Baron buff is their only option at this point. I do not believe that it will be successful, however, with OMG's decision making as a team just being so strong. Inhibitor respawning. I guess that was far enough back to respawn already. I do believe that we're nearing the end of this game, hopefully. and OMG will close this out shortly, hopefully.
然后再去带下，上面有兵线的时候带下。
在中路，他们就是想下路兵线好像自然推的。
EDG 已经没得选啊，路的这里面被炸了一下，但还有大龙八还有一会儿，还能再回点血。对。不过炸的这两下，哎，轮子是被他打了，但是那边轮子这波掉了些血，放弃了，哎，一个狙。想了想，觉得
Ulti going down on Yang, not a bad decision. If they get one good Ziggs Q and ultimate off, they will kill him. Ziggs wave clear coming out. Unfortunately, OMG having to deal with this. I think that if that wave wasn't cleared up so quickly, it would have been rather easy for OMG to simply go back and get an inhib. Again, I will emphasize the fact that EDG simply do not have the plan ready for OMG. It seems that the last two picks of, I believe it was Shyvana and Leona, not being so strong in this composition because of the fact that they don't provide any disengage. I don't think Shyvana was too bad for the re-engage, but I do believe that the support pick was very, very weak. I do believe that somebody like, again, Nami, Zyra, etc. with disengage would have been a lot better, especially with the range to take down some towers potentially and be safer in the laning phase. And not only in the laning phase necessarily, but later on past the laning phase we saw the bot lane for EDG getting caught out a few times by the anti-burst, etc. Just not being strong enough to deal with that. Truly a slow game. I will do a better job next time of picking games that are interesting and not simply slow grinding down the enemy until we win games. I might actually edit some of this out to only show the interesting bits, but we will see. Hopefully my audio levels are good. I turned down the game sounds quite a bit, or the volume of the video quite a bit, so that you could hear me rather than the game when I'm trying to speak. Because the Chinese casters are quite a bit invasive at times, verbally. Going, just being a man and getting in there, only taking about half of his damage with all that damage coming in. Korra getting slowed. EDG looking for the counter engage, however no ultimates or anything was blown on OMG's side. If Going had popped that ultimate, I do believe that EDG could have turned it around with that Shyvana ultimate. However, OMG's minions being pushed into the base of EDG, forcing them to either contest the Baron or protect their base. I do believe that they did make the right decision here, EDG going in. And of course, they cannot hold up to the simply magnificent shielding and health generation that Lulu can provide, and EDG's base is simply getting wrecked by OMG's minions with that inhibitor, or with those super minions in there. The inhibitor did respawn, however, does not mean a whole lot at this stage of the game in terms of pressure. OMG could continue to look for the Baron within the next 15-20 seconds or so. However, they have to do it quickly and not get poked out. EDG grabbing the blue buff for hopefully Name, actually. However, they give it to Ziggs. I do believe that Name could have used it better for those combos, and now he's out of mana. That is not very good, seeing as how his ultimate probably would have been a deciding factor. Going coming back into the fight, and OMG trying to look for an engage. And they probably find it here. Siggs is probably going to die, or FCZF because he didn't flash out with the rest of this team. Siggs is down, everybody's down, and it looks like OMG's game to throw here at this point. With 60-second timers on the carries and Leona, it looks like they will take this game convincingly, for sure.
是他们前面优势太大了，打到这个时候，你潘森跳过来，
就如果这盘不是吉格斯，他们可能优势会更大一些。是的啊，这边的话门牙刚才已经被拔了一座了，应该是直接一波带走。OMG 这一把打的还是非常的紧密的，非常。
All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed. I can tell you I thoroughly enjoyed casting, just talking my mind about the team comps and such, and I learned quite a bit about OMG and EDG here. I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks a lot. Hopefully you tune in next time.